Notification.
Notification
Consider yourself
squad.
Notified. You're on notice now. We're on MintPotion.
Notified.
We're about to out.
Consider going live. I think that's fine.
I've considered it every day of my life.
All right. Hey now, Stad. Welcome. Hello. That
Yeah.
boy is Chat. That boy in the top right is your boss. That's this hand. Is T-Mad, the boss of the bits.
He is the director and the selector. And the erector. And the director.
So this is a preview of what that set is like. And I'm just there rocking that APC with about 6 months worth of beats. It's pretty good stuff. I'm like really happy with how it came out. It's a lot of fun to rock. But until we get a new track, we're just gonna have to play this. Hey chat, welcome.
Man, I gotta open semi-welded diff. This song demands 4/5 and 2 spliffs. I just wanna chill with my Andy Griffith and observe some action with this.
Yeah. So I got my LT going.
This is the kind of shit they play in the bars where you sipping on Courvoisier.
Oh, we're taking over. Whoa.
That's the layout of the grounds.
It's true. It's the layout with these, leave you laid out like, what is that clown's name that everyone's talking about right now?
Pennywise?
Yeah.
Why did I know that?
I don't know.
Because he immediately shrieked into my brain. Hi!
Hey, Tomiki, what's up?
Play! Man, ads.
You're supporting, Amazon somehow, but also us for hanging out, which is great. It's hot.
And how?
And how?
Sorry, it takes me about 15 seconds to form a response now because I'm in here like a brown cow. I'm saying how now. I'm trying to hear this. I'm trying to feel the spirit. Take me over.
Playing Melee.
Playing Red Rover with my emotions. I'm going all kinds of potions.
Motion like
Dropping
an
them
ocean
down my
motion.
mouth and in my ears and then down south. Who knows? I pour it over like olive oil and then I get all kinds of hot and boiled.
Should definitely, I think, kick up a rap stream.
Yeah, we should just rap all the time.
I happen to know a couple of hip hopsters.
We could have call-in guests that are topsters and all kinds of top fuel dragsters and magsters and all kinds of shizzies and all kinds of people from all over the hizzy, and all kinds of places in and out, both burgers and up north and down south. Trying to get that Jesus cup.
Red Rover with my emotions. What do you mean? I think he's trying to say, come over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to
If I can't
send
make
your
Red
best right
Rover
over.
clear, yeah.
Or send the weakest, and I'll still hug them. I ain't trying to drug them, but, that's their prerogative. I'ma lug them even out of my pockets.
Oh, they're
Got
over
that
in
shit,
call.
Like, lit like a rocket.
So we have Miss Mort in call. Should we connect to call? Or do you want to go over what this is all about?
We're making a world for NuRen.
Yeah, it's a new world. It's a new dawn.
We're your new best friend. We're not gonna give up until the end.
How did you guys get started? What do you mean now, Stad?
Started streaming or started living or started working or...
Oh, like to get the studio together. How did we start up this place?
Oh, Robbie just ran it as a local recording studio.
Yeah.
And then one day it was like, man, Jake, you rent my upstairs loft
In my heart.
and own
And
my heart.
my heart.
No, I don't rent your heart. I own it.
Damn.
And you said that to me, and I was
I did
like,
say that.
it was like
In your eyes.
business love at first sight, and we basically just started a company together and like turned the whole place into a gigantic rec room that has a income stream from all kinds of stuff for various projects.
Fast seeking other sorts. making all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, trying to get other wizards up in here.
Yeah. I mean, we need to enable the people that can reach us to get out there and kick butt.
Right, and the ones that care and can do a good job of it because they're awesome. Like, we're surrounded by people like that. I just need that fat cashola to put everybody to work so that nobody has to work for the man. But
Believe it.
we can be our own the man, or the woman, or the dog, or the frog bog.
What keeps the lights on? At the moment? Okay, KO? I don't know.
Shovel Knight
And Shovel Knight.
Shantae and
Yeah.
Way Forward stuff.
There's a lot of
Basically,
stuff.
I'm a freelance game composer
Yeah.
and now TV composer, and this is my entire support crew of badass studio ninjas that just basically make everything that isn't the chord progressions and melodies happen. Like from guitars to drums to mixing to mastering to like doing cues for me to like springboard off of, like a simple drum beat or something that I'm like, oh, good idea. All right, let me work with that. Like these guys do everything, like everything short of like overall like napkin scrawling ideas for music. Like I spend a lot of time in various like Logics and Family Trackers and stuff doing extreme detail work,
Extreme.
but they do the exact same thing on the sound reinforcement side and the idea supporting side. And honestly, just like chilling with me for outdoor break activities pretty much half the day. And I've never been ever happier than having this giant rec room that somehow makes a profit. Barely enough to keep us going, but enough to keep us going for a while. Like as a steady kind of thing, you know? We're working our way up to getting it more than a little bit. So, you know, more than getting by, so that we can build up a small staff of very comfortable people who just like make awesome stuff all day.
Make it work.
And some of it sells and some of it bombs, but like we just want to, we want to keep it funky and chill and make all the craziest stuff we could think of. And yeah, some of it goes viral sometimes. If you do enough, you can't plan it, but you do enough stuff, some of it's gonna stick. And that's in the form of like so far it's been a bunch of game soundtracks and a couple individual comedy projects, like B3 or like those dumb little videos that I did, that a couple of them like caught on enough to where I was like, I could probably do this and be okay at it. Like doing weird comedy bizarreness. Whatever strange project, whether it's a game that's a joke and not a joke at the same time because it's like done super well. Like we wanna take comedy to a new bar by making it really, really good, like really well produced and believable. So that you're like, how does that exist? Like, why did anyone go to those lengths? If we can do that enough times, I think we can make it in the creative world.
Yeah.
Make our niche. Being like really selling the crap out of the joke. How did anyone put that much effort into that dumb song? Like, but it needed to be right. And some people agree with me enough, I think, to hopefully keep us in business long term. As purveyors of canned stupidity, basically. But very lovingly canned. Brined in its own juices.
I think we might get Brian in his own juices tonight.
Yeah, he's coming in with his juices.
Oh,
Unless
dang.
he cancels, that's a definite likelihood.
No cancel. I already confirmed with him. He's coming.
That room
Beautiful.
gets fragrant when he is funking it out. I gotta turn our voices up because I can't hear over the music.
Yeah, you can turn the music down as well.
I didn't want to before, but now I want to hear you guys.
Yeah.
Wait, not that one.
That's
I
the.
know. It's one,
Wait, that is that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait.
That's the voices. Yeah. Oh, it's
Oh,
not
this-
that.
no,
it's not that
one.
thing. It's this guy.
it's this guy, yeah.
Here, let's turn that up.
I'm on another planet.
There you go.
Yo, we got the voice.
Oh, baby.
Is it? You were listening to the same thing as me.
Yeah.
You didn't even hear any voices. I didn't either.
Oh, okay.
I heard us yelling at each other. That's why I was like talking like this the whole roomtone.com here. Yo,
It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
I feel much more comfortable with the sound of my own voice now.
Yeah.
Than I did before. I was like, hey guys, trying to talk in a bar
Oh, okay.
over loud music. I'm the worst at that.
Yeah, it's tricky to manage, but we got it.
Yeah. Okay, so Nastad for, did I say it right? Is it a German pronunciation or is it Nastad? Either way, hello, welcome. I've always been disappointed that most comedy music is produced so cheaply. Like, okay, so see, I can't. Lonely Island, I can go with, but Ninja Sex Party, like, I have my own critiques of how I would do things differently, but I love what they are so much that I would never want to change that. I feel the same way about Lonely Island. Like, I feel I can do it differently in a way that pleases me personally in my own autistic attention to detail sense, like perfectly, but it isn't objectively better or worse as a comedy product than the other guys doing it. But I kind of always wish that they like nailed that synthesizer part a little bit better. Like, I have a high standard because it's Weird Al and he's like almost perfect on literally everything. He just gets it. But those are direct parodies, right? So he just has a golden ear. But like original stuff, I feel like sometimes it's too synthesizer and not enough.
Yeah,
like,
it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to manage.
I don't mean
when-
in an 80s style like that. Like, that's why I love Ninja Sex Party, because they do the 80s style perfect.
Right.
But like when Lonely Island goes into orchestrations, whoever their orchestrator is good and at the top of the industry. But I feel like it could use that level of nerd polish that only weirdos like us are capable of. And I got a whole army of people who can do what I can. So I feel like super blessed creatively, and it being able to make a weird statement is kind of cool.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna join the party.
You gonna come out here?
Welcome.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the jungle, baby. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Because it's a jungle restaurant. That's how everybody's contractually obligated to greet customers.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it could be possible that they're kind of targeting that phone thing where like people are like, "Hey, come around and watch this video," and you're mixing it for that mono speaker. That
I'm driven by two goals. Goal one. Wait, I gotta turn this music down, dude. Where is
That's
it?
all good. It's on 5.6.
5.6. I love it so much, but now is not the time to listen to the set.
No problem.
I gotta have it on in the background because I'm an active listener. It's gonna just. What's up?
Hey.
Oh,
that was part of the music.
Mwah, bye.
Hey.
Love you so much. All right, see ya.
Hey.
Hey,
Whoops, I'm on camera. Hey, what's
Hey.
up?
I think Robbie's just rapping along.
I thought that was part of the music. All of a sudden, hey.
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 No.
Bye, you guys.
It was Homegirl and Homegirl Junior taking off.
Homegirl Junior.
Oh God. I can't go on a personal romance rant. You can't. I'm too much of a place right now. I just can't go there. I'm too on the DL with my own. Just know it is quite amazing. And
I'm
life,
a 10.
life for me is very, very good.
It's good life.
Home and work now. Like, things are balanced. Finally, good.
Boom, boom. So I have only 3.
So let's make NuRen.
Dude, I only have 3 locations really like locked in.
What
so-
is the first one that's got the star?
So this is, I've made basically like a really blocky,
The one on the left.
yeah, this thing, like me, like, I wanna,
No, the one that was on the left building. Where's the building?
so this is the idea of like a tulip city.
Okay.
So I have something that kind of just loose represents that. So nothing is particularly to scale, but I want to work out kind of these dimensions in these areas with you. Just, I needed to put down some building blocks so I can spam out buildings and stuff like that.
Right. So let me immediately let you know what's going on with that one.
What
First
up?
of all, the entire city is one large tulip. There's nothing on the ground.
Oh.
Remember the demo for NuRen?
I just remember the stem in the middle, and I remember the city around it. I didn't remember
Fall off
that.
the edge, and there's like a large rim around the city.
That's
It's
a whole
like,
other
it's
thing.
like the Jetson city. It's
Alright.
on a stalk. There's a stem in
Gotcha.
the city.
So what?
Stem is a giant tower going to nowhere because there's cloud cover immediately over it.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Let's do that.
So just take all of that and just move it up to.
I'm gonna group it. We're gonna scale it.
And in the demo, it looks a lot more like an actual flower. Like, it's shaped like it. Basically, I made a flower and then just turned it into 10 kilometers in size and built buildings on top of it in the streets.
Gotcha.
That's how. And it doesn't. It's a tulip, so that's not a tulip shaped.
Oh, it's
thing.
got 6. It's got 6 petals. It's
Yeah,
I was
tulip-
looking at this reference for tulip. Oh, where's
Tulip
my?
kind of looks like a.
Right.
That's a fully bloomed open one. It looks like tiptoe through the tulips.
Looking for this type.
Just look at Dutch tulips.
Dutch tulips.
I mean, those are just reference tulips. They're the ones that were currency for a while before Bitcoin.
Yeah, right.
Tulip coin. Just go to images
Yeah.
and just that. It's like that, like the semi-opened ones that are flat on the top, and not pointed like roses. They look more like roses than like daisies.
Like these kind of guys?
Yep.
Word. Let's get a ref.
Perhaps a bit more opened, kind of like a champagne flute.
Okay.
We have pictures of the city. In fact, one is my wallpaper. But regardless, it should be a cup, like a champagne flute shape, and
Okay.
no petals.
Totally
The
fine.
petals are the building.
Oh, interesting.
Right, and they go up in a confluence toward the middle, which is where the stand. The flower sex organs. Thanks Wikipedia for making it clear. I'm just trying to learn about flowers, and turns out.
Sex organs.
So the city is not an intentional metaphor. It's simply a nice shaped city that an AI could build. I don't know, maybe the AI is smarter than me. I have to design a character that's smarter than I am. Dude, that looks like a swastika. Come on.
I'm just looking at real quick.
City of swastikas, that's super.
Grace in every inch.
Yep.
You know you belong in my
And it gets,
bed. I can't get you
gets-
off of my brain. Feeling like it's never enough.
And
Cause your
Thinner
love's
towards
got me
the end,
going
towards the
in.
bottom. There should be some very, like what you just deleted in the whole like bay area. It should have ports and bays on
Insane
the
for
side.
your love.
Imagine a circle that is greebled.
Yeah, I'm trying to create shape. I'm just thinking about.
Here's how I created it. I made a circle. I can just tell you how I made the bottom shape for it, and then the buildings made themselves once I saw the bottom shape.
You started with a circle?
Started with a circle, and I moved individual faces in the circle
Oh, I see what you mean. Like if I started with this
in
kind
or out, and greebled it,
of. Okay. Let me.
and then extruded it so into a curved shape that's smaller at the bottom where it meets with the stem. In other words, a champagne flute. Make a champagne flute out of a green circle, and you have the flute. That easy. So easy a composer can do it. And then just enough art ability to make this demo happen, but past that I need pros who can do this in like a few seconds and not
belong in my bed. I can't get you off
You might
of my
have
brain. Feeling
Oh, no.
like
Uh-oh.
it's never
He's throwing
enough.
down these
Cause
bits.
your
That
love's
boss is
got
getting
me
unboxed.
I think
going
that might be
in. You
comical.
know you
Probably.
belong in my bed. I can't
Can you
get
beat
you
Team
off
F?
of
Is the
my
question.
brain. Feeling
that
like
Team
it's
F.
never enough.
So can you
Cause your
randomize
love's
the radius
got
of
me
certain
going in.
Maybe. I don't know if I
or
can.
just drag some
I got.
drag some of the
Insane for
some pairs of
your
vertices out.
love.
Like a quad. Drag individual quads on the
Yeah,
edge
you got
in or out. Or just out to a random
I'm just gonna add some subdivisions. And
add those after you have the profile of the city. And then make it fade towards the uniform circle at the bottom.
You belong in my bed. I can't get you off
Trust
of
me, this is
my
how the actual
brain.
reference video looks.
Feeling like
This is
it's
exactly how I
never
made it.
enough.
You want to-
Cause your
oh,
love's
okay.
got me
Pull
going
random
in.
pieces out.
You know you belong in my bed.
Oh, right here on the sides.
Yeah, and don't subdivide it until you actually have the shape defined.
Feeling like it's never enough. Cause your
Basically the
love's
top,
got me
like the top
going in.
edge.
You know you
No, not entire thing. The top edge. Drag the top edge out. And then, there you go.
You're looking at this thing, and you want to pull it sides with it.
No, drag, like grab that one and pull it out. No,
Out,
In the red axis.
X, yeah.
In the X.
Like this type of thing.
Right. But you have to extrude outward.
Oh, like.
Don't just pull out.
Okay.
Extrude new faces to a random depth in the X.
Uh,
Assuming X is just away from the pivot point. Yeah, just normal.
So let's try this.
Along its own normal. Basically, extrude the top part of taller down.
Yeah. I want to see if I can like wedge that out.
Well, you can also pull the bottom circle down after you're done. Create the. Oh, that's exactly how I did it. All right, so check it out.
What's up?
So extrude a new face out of each face on the rim of the wheel.
You're talking about like here.
I'm talking about I don't mean face. I mean edge. I don't mean edge. I mean face.
Okay.
So extrude a new face
From here.
from here. Yep.
Okay.
Right. All right. Now move the top edge out more than the bottom. In the X. There you go. Do that
Okay.
all around the Tulip City.
Sure.
To random degrees, so it kind of looks like almost like a really, really raggedy gear,
Right.
or say a flower. And then when you're finally done, you select the bottom rim, the bottom edge loop of the original circle shape, like the
Right.
ones pre-extrusion,
Like
those ones.
These
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
All around the edge there, and just pull it down, and you'll have a really nice morph shape.
I got you. All right. Let's walk that down.
And then you can subdue that and make it organic looking. That's how I did the model for the original
Or
in Modo. It's just basic. Try to move it along its normal.
yeah. Just kind of have to re-extrude it. I'm trying to make sure that I don't create unnecessary phases.
Well, the idea is I want all of the
I understand.
all of the faces to be still like a perfect circle, just different amounts of offset.
Right.
So they should be along their own normals. And that, yeah, there you go.
What the?
Oh,
Oh, I got
no.
that. Yeah, just. It's
There you
alright.
go.
It's gonna be alright.
beautiful. Yeah, you can move the bottom ones in as well. It's easier to get the top extension and then, but that's not.
I need to change the
You need to lock the
orientation.
Yeah, those are also
Yeah, I see it.
good, man. Sorry to be so persnickety about this, but I remember now. The more I talk about it, the more it just comes flooding back. Like, oh, that's how I did it. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have to change what this is oriented toward. See?
That's the whole reason I called it a Tulip City is because that's the shape that I got by messing around with a Jetson City. I was like, oh, why don't I just pull out random extrusions that kind of like a diagonal gear thing, but that's just super off-kiltered and greebled, and it turned out to be cool looking.
Let's see. I guess maybe
Looked like a flower.
Now, normal's not giving me the information. As a matter of fact, where does that thing show up? It's fine. We do this.
Can you make the pivot point just local?
Well, I can like rotate the pivot point to match the normal, but
No,
like,
no,
to
no.
do that for each one is going to be a
No,
kind of
and you
unnecessary.
can't do it by freehand. It has to be exact, or it's not going to look right like a circle. This isn't a final model. I just want you to know exactly what the specs are for the actual shape of the city,
Right.
because it plays into the story. They go along petals of it in the thing. So if we're gray boxing this, you definitely have to have the basic shape of the city level designs. You know,
Gotcha.
this is a whole level.
I think I might be able to wedge this out with a little bit more facility. What the? Sorry. Or, why isn't it rotating along that component? There we go. Hey, baby. That's what I'm talking
There
about.
you go.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Axis orientation component. Yeah,
Yeah, it's...
and that is face, edge, or vertex, right?
Yes.
All right, cool.
That looks
Yeah, they should be rotated to different degrees randomly, freehand.
that looks amazing.
Wait a minute. Are they flat on their top?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, good,
I
good,
can
good, good.
I can also flatten all of the verts once it's done.
Yeah,
I just need to get that manual part done.
yeah, the whole thing is flattened on the top, and the outgrowth of the petals is
Mhm.
kind of like an artichoke. Like it has like a faux hawk in the middle
Gotcha.
of buildings, for lack of a better. If buildings were hair, it's a faux hawk shape. Aw, man, I just ruined the whole idea of the city. Yeah, I really highly recommend, instead of rotating it like that, just extrude out.
If I try and move the edge back, then I don't have the same component like control, right? And that doesn't really, because what I can do later, like I can flatten the top out. Like don't worry too much about that at the moment.
Okay, it's just easier to get a visual representation of how it looks
right? But
while you're dragging them out.
for these things that are really manual, like I think that I'll be able to get through it a lot more rapidly.
If you can just
Right.
scratch it and then fix the verts.
Exactly. If I can get to the point where this is still kind of noisy,
Yep.
right? And then like fix the things that are orthographic basically.
Yep.
Right.
That is a master technique that I should use more often instead of trying to get things just right, centimeters and meters and stuff.
Yeah, because that's gonna, especially when you're like sketching something out, like that'll slow you down, right?
Yep. As I found out trying to do vehicle design, that's why I switched from Unreal Editor, which is what I'm already using for all NuRen stuff, what I'll eventually build it in. Hoosh brought up a good point. He said, once you get it working in something, you can build it in anything else.
Oh, totally.
So I want to get it working in the easiest thing possible that isn't like Kerbal Space Program. Like I need to get a vehicle going from my head with a novel configuration, the tricycle or something, like into a thing where I can drive it and see if it falls over as fast as possible. And I think that's Unity. It's
Okay.
really, really great at doing that stuff.
Yeah, Unity's got some really nice tools for simulation.
Yeah.
At least the simple ones. So here's what I was talking about, right? Oh yeah, sub D that.
No.
Hold on. This is what I was talking about. So in vertex mode, right, we have
Yeah,
like
you
this kind of uneven thing,
You can grab them all and just align them on the.
and then I can scale them like that.
Yeah.
And actually, let me turn off.
Yeah, I should snap the scale though. It needs to be an absolute flat plane.
Yeah, there's a option in this tool for not allowing the scale to flip over.
Oh, like don't disallow absolute value.
Not symmetry. There's like a thing that
Can't you just scale it to 0?
yes. Let's see, scale center, manipulation, transform constraint.
Or step snap to integers or like to 0? Absolute?
There should be prevent negative scale. That's the guy I'm looking for. Then I
Gotcha.
can drag
So
it
you can
straight
drag it
down
straight
and it's
to
flat,
0. Yeah.
right? And same
Wait,
thing if we have
or
any
is it-
issues across the bottom.
Or is it? They kind of look.
Trust
Oh,
me.
that could have been perspective.
Yeah, that's the issue. Because if we're looking at it orthographically, now
Yep,
we have that.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
I hate it when I scale something down, but it's like a float that I don't see, and then it's like, it's just the tiniest bit off until I zoom in, it's like way off, and I'm like, what, am I tripping? Am I having a massive stroke? Or
So like if we look at this, now you're talking about the second step, yeah? Where I want this edge loop?
no, the inner one.
Yeah, the inner one.
Nope.
Oh, this part in here.
Yep.
Okay.
First, and then you move out that one as a spline in the middle to create.
You're talking about this type of thing?
Well, you're not done yet. Basically, drag it down further so it looks like a tulip shape.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So, and then that middle one that the outer inner one,
Mm-hmm.
the one that's pre extrusion,
Right.
the top
Yeah.
of that face that you're on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Select all those in a loop
All right.
and move those down so that you have not those.
These.
Yep. Yep. There you go. And then scale them appropriately so it kind of resembles a tulip. Towards the bottom. There you go. But not quite that. It's a little bit flatter.
Toward the side thing?
Yep. Well, no. Not like a KFC bucket. Yeah. A little bit more of a fade. So I'd even make it a little more drastic, a little more like a champagne flute, and a little less like a tulip. Because
Okay.
it's only tulip form city. Yeah, because keep in mind you're still gonna have buildings on top contributing to the overall shape of the tulip. So you want the bottom to kind of cut off as picture an artichoke cup that you get in a can.
Let me fix my selection real quick.
Have you ever had one of those, the artichoke heart cup?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
You know where they scoop out all the artichoke stuff and they just
Mhm.
give you the bottom of the heart.
Yeah.
Picture this as the bottom of an artichoke heart that you've kind of cut the bottom off of it, and then the rest of the artichoke flowers are on top.
You
Coming
can
up
take it,
to a
dip
kind
it
of
in
point.
butter.
It's a thistle shape, roughly. Even though I'm not sure if tulips are thistles, but it's somewhat like that kind of bell shape. What I'm saying is, bring the bottom and that one up more, and make it more of a champagne flute kind of look, like that. Perhaps even a bit more.
You're talking about the scale or the relative position?
I'm talking about both of those sets of vertices.
Mm-hmm.
Move them up. Not to that degree. A little bit more like, not like a pair of underwear.
Okay.
Still like there.
Okay, and the bottom one, larger, smaller,
A
further down. What's
a
up?
little bit further up.
Further up.
There you go.
Okay.
Done.
Sweet.
And then you put buildings on top to create the rest of the tulip. That's just
Gotcha.
the bottom of the tulip, as if you cut it off with a machete,
Mm-hmm.
and then it like split apart, ninja style.
All right. That's cool.
That's the surface of the city,
I can dig it.
and that's the stem going up to it. And there's clouds
Right, that are like kind of below it that obscure this thing.
2/3 ish up the way.
Okay.
So it's just city floating up in the clouds, and then the stems going up into nothing from the bottom.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so that exclusion zone, which is about the right size, that is no man's land, more or less. Oh no, that's the wrong size. That's way too big. It's in the shadow of the city. So I would say make that area a bit smaller, and that's no man's land. You can't come close to the city.
You're talking about like this area?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about
no, that what you just had selected.
this thing?
Yeah, make that a little smaller, enough to where it's like drones go there to patrol against humans and keep them away from the city. So it's slightly bigger than the city.
Okay.
Maybe
so
a bit
like
smaller
here?
ish. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And that's where the battle takes place in the final track, the semi-final track.
All right. Let's give this a new material. Something that
Because the city's freaking huge. How big is it in units?
I have no idea. It's probably, what is this? It's something like 5 units wide. The city itself is probably 3 units wide, 2.5. But we can scale all of this to what we need it to
Is
be.
that grid units?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, so that would be centimeters or meters. Centimeters? Isn't it centimeters? Look, can you check your units?
Let's see here.
Because that would be really helpful to know what we're working with.
Units.
So that I can do comparative sizing of objects.
Let's see.
The scale is really important here.
Let's see. Modeling UV unit size. Set Unity project. No.
Is it in the preferences?
Maybe. Let me look this up real quick. My units.
If it's
Take your
default.
time.
If this were max, I could help, but I can't help in Maya yet.
Yeah, they're usually when you export them, you want to know about what that scale is.
Hey, Autodesk, we're making VR in your products, and I'm a Max user, and there's no Max LT. Come on.
Work it out.
I can't afford $185 a month to use my chosen tool. Maya is just as good, but there's an LT version that's also pretty much just as good for our purposes. We are loyal customers. Please hook us up with the Max LT. Or just like for a small project, give us an indie rate or something to use Max. We all learn Max, but we're not using it to generate millions of dollars of profit. And if we do, yeah, you guys got to get your licensing. Man, it's Autodesk though. Who knows? They're listening to the little guy.
Yeah, so working
'Cause they
units,
don't
we
have
can
to
change
care, they're
this
just-
to. We can change this
Wait,
to meters.
what is it by default?
By default is centimeters.
All right, let's change it to but it is in Unreal as well. I
Okay.
happen to know that because I was just setting up junk in there.
We can change it to meters. That way we can work with the grid relatively.
But can we change it to meters in Unreal?
I mean, we'll have to just multiply, right?
Yeah. Let's change it to meters. Yeah, we can just scale everything up by 100.
Yeah, I mean that's like I said, an FBX import option.
Oh yeah, unit conversion.
So meters are fine.
Booyakasha!
Let's see. You can also make it Z up, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Where is it? Display preferences. No?
Was it in the thing you were just in?
Yeah.
Oh god.
I know, right?
I
Here we
was
go.
just like kind of just zoning out, and then you had it up, and
Yeah, and I found it before that stupid like Google search loaded. So I was
Preferences.
like, screw it.
oh, that's the worst. And you find it later, and you still get lost in the tutorials page when you're supposed to be doing something else.
Yep. So it's just general right here, settings. We can change it to Z up,
Uh,
which apparently messes
just
with everything.
broke everything on Earth.
Oh, you know
Or
what it does is it reoriented all of our stuff.
Oh, you're under it now?
No, it just rotates our entire scene. Like,
Oh, but you can still get on top of it by moving the camera around.
yeah.
So why not do that so that we save ourselves the trouble later converting? And I can talk to you about Y and Z without it being, just rotate all your objects.
Can I change it on input? Because I think the problem is going to be that the right view is still gonna have Y up.
You can just change it to a left view.
Oh, it has to be
Oh,
like
you can.
a weird like. Does that make sense?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Why would that be the case?
I have no idea, but
It's your global project settings.
yeah, some things
General
don't make
application
sense.
preferences. No, I don't think that's true actually though. I think maybe you just need to change it, reorient your stuff, and then redo the quad view if necessary, like the right view.
Because now the top is the side view,
Because
essentially.
the object is rotated.
Right.
You need to re-rotate the object so that it no longer is off axis.
No, that's fine. I could do that.
You're correct in everything. The right. If what?
Yeah, I'll do that. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Let's group it. Let's center the pivot. Let's rotate all of this stuff. I guess where would that be? Y. What is this axis that I'm disagreeing with right now? Because that drives me nuts.
Like
I need to rotate it.
you can rotate all of the views basically to have it so that C is up. And that's the side view right there. That's the top view, dude. That's not Y is up. That's a right hand window, but it's the top view.
I'm just trying to remember.
And Y is forward. So you just need to rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis.
Yeah.
Or maybe negative 90. I'm not sure yet.
We'll figure it out.
After these messages.
Group, center pivot, rotate 90 degrees. Yeah.
Booyakasha! Is that correct?
It's pretty good. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, dog. All right. So now we have Y is forward,
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these
just like Unreal,
little details.
if I'm not mistaken. Well, because I think you rotated that one first before grabbing the group.
That's alright. You can just do that now.
Do that, yeah. Yeah, good.
Sweet.
And then it's translated as well. So you probably want to remove the translation.
What is the translate? Oh. Weird. That just is the center now. It's not worth it.
And then, okay, so
But yeah, let me just move this back to where it was.
yeah, on top of the thing, you're also going to want to scale everything because it looks like that's less than a meter big right now. But please don't scale the group because it's going to screw with import stuff. Scale the verts. You know what I mean?
No.
If you scale the object, then the object is now scaled for all further calculations. So anything that displays it as 1.0 scale is going to display it tiny.
Oh, once I set the scale appropriately, we can reset the transform so that everything is zeroed again.
Like
Oh,
it just yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like make sure you zero the
Yeah.
transform.
I
That
can-
should be the first thing in our checklist, which is probably why Justin came up with that name.
totally reasonable.
That's like the biggest frustration I've ever had in importing stuff, and the one that's the most constant.
This grid.
That's a brilliant reason to call a company that.
Yeah, that's the. Why did it scale? Oh, I
Like-
see. It's because we changed the unit size.
It's like consolidate your Pro Tools session, LLC.
Okay, we're gonna group this, center this, and scale that. So another thing that I was thinking about, you know, in terms of scale, like if we can imagine it at a scale that is like maybe an order of magnitude larger or something, that would be helpful because then I have to change the camera's clipping planes to account for hundreds of meters, which we can do.
Yeah, we should because it's going to be kilometers the whole level. So yes, that needs to happen.
Okay.
Even though that's a change you can make when your project scope size changes. It's not that difficult. I don't know how to do it in this, but I could do it in Unity.
Yeah, me too.
Camera clipping and all that. Just basically set it up to work at large scale, 10 by 10 kilometers.
Right. So like that's the. Let me see if I can find it.
That's the size of our terrain and everything. Like that's how big we're rendering in Skybox.
Camera clipping.
10 by 10. What is the distance necessary to see curvature and horizon?
That's a great question. My I think
Anyone-
it's LT.
Anyone wants to help us Google that? How far do you have to render to not? I mean, it depends on height, of course, but we have cloud cover at height. Like on the ground, assuming level ground, how long do you have to go if there's features before you can't really see them over the curvature of the earth? That also depends on the object's height, but say a person.
Display. I want to see the hierarchy of this object or this scene.
Basically, how far away is the horizon at eye level?
Is it that way?
I can Google that myself.
I'm doing it.
display.
How far away is the horizon? What is it?
At eye level.
I wonder if that's something in this one.
Where's the apex of the curvature in your field of view, or by everything else that's below it is clipped out? The clipping point, the clipping threshold of your vision. In other words, how big do we have to make this map before you can't see the edges of it?
This is harder than I thought to find. Hold on.
Depends how many mountains there are, is the answer.
I think it has to do with altitude, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can render mountains around you and do the whole thing in 1 kilometer. But we're going to have a higher vantage point sometimes. So there's definitely a triangle we can draw to figure out view size. And we could still render infinite mountains beyond that.
Bar clip, 10,000 units.
10,000 meters. 10 kilometers.
Let's add another 0 here.
Order of magnitude. There's nothing outside of it. So
2?
yeah, maybe. Nah. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it clearly didn't work.
It
Let me
clearly
save and
didn't
reset
work.
the scene. Or reopen the scene.
Because the stuff is far away in real life, so we're trying to stage it out that way. And who cares? For rendering purposes, we just instantly LOD out of anything.
Yeah, and I mean, to that end, we don't really have to, get the entire scene in a shot at the moment. Like, we
Right.
can focus on spot by spot, right?
I'm more about designing the map right now than designing...
Right. And that's what's driving me nuts, is I want to
The game
see
level.
that whole thing.
Right.
Okay. Oh, shit, no.
Like, how far away is the last ground you see before it dips over the horizon? Assuming level ground and normal human eye position. Wait, that's a really easy trig calculation.
You go for it. I can't find this.
Alright, so
Everybody
you
keeps giving me different kinds of answers.
you just make a triangle from your eyes to the point on the sphere. So you just rest it, the hypotenuse going down to the exact apex of the sphere where it rests on it. Right? And then you can see where your eyes are hitting at the top. So, not that it matters, we're going to draw mountains in the background anyways, but
What is going on?
I don't feel like trying and failing to do napkin math on screen right now. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say a long way.
Napkin math.
Assuming good visibility. We're not talking about the resolving power of human eyes. We're talking about, like, where does that flat road actually stop being visible because the earth is curved, allegedly. Just saying.
12,500.
Is that true? Or did you just make that up? Is that what one of Yahoo's answers says?
In a way. Not sure if it's true or not. The answer is about 12,500 miles apart, because if they're any further, they would be closer to another direction. What is the maximum drop a target can have?
No, wait. Well, that's
not
just
right, yeah.
that's just circumference. That's
Yeah.
that's the half circumference.
Right. When I ask the question, this is where it comes to.
Yeah.
Every single thing comes with this one thing.
Gotta freeze before you reset transformation. Okay.
We're not talking about gravitational lensing or anything. We're just talking about, like, although technically that does apply to a basically immeasurable extent, probably. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, you know how black holes bend light around them? So does everything. Oh god, I just blew my head open. One of those days, guys. Everything with mass bends light, right?
Interesting. You asked this question, though, and one of the top answers is the Earth flat?
No, Robbie. Dangerous rabbit hole to go
I
down.
didn't touch it.
They'll convince you it's not. No.
Not even good.
They're really compelling. No.
I can't believe people believe we landed on
But
the
the
moon.
Earth is flat to the people living here on the city, right? There's an edge they can fall off of. That's pretty symbolic, right?
I think so.
It's a flat earther on a flat terrain made in a
flat
computer on a round Earth. So to them, the flat Earth theory is objectively true because their intelligence is inside a computer.
Oh,
As much as
cooking something.
Tron
it's probably Andrew.
would like to have you believe otherwise.
Oh, okay.
But there's elevation in this. There's movement, just like there is on the city. but ultimately it's a flat edge that they fall off of, and it's sort of a metaphorical way of describing their fall off of the flat Earth, basically, into a round world. We live in around the world. Maybe even take it out higher than that. Just put it to maximum or infinity. Is there an infinity? Yeah, just take it up there, and that doesn't work. Why? Is this set per mesh, perhaps?
Not sure how that works.
This is a Google thing, definitely.
Near and far clipping planes, imaginary located at 2 particular distances from the camera.
Yeah, this isn't a manual question. It's a Google, why is my stuff disappearing question. You need to know when to ask Google a question versus looking in a manual. Sometimes if you just ask Google, a forum guy has already asked that same question. Bar objects disappear. See if that's just a suggestion of looking preferences, but it might have a thread on it.
Looks like a forum. Yeah.
Right.
Select your camera and then the attribute editor. Change the far view distance. The
Yeah,
default
the
is 0.
attribute editor for the camera.
Right, so this is how we find that. We're going to go into the hierarchy for the scene. I need to find my camera that we're moving around.
Go.
And figure out where the heck this property is. This is the channel editor. This is the attribute editor.
Near clip, far clip plane, 100. Oh, dude, the internet was right. Go back there so I could shout out to that person. Wait, let's verify it's actually solved. Zoom out. Yeah, dog. That was the answer we were looking for. Who's that? Who's that helpful person?
Why does it rotate off of that axis, though? That makes me sad. Because I want to orbit when that happens.
That's probably another setting. You know, see who that was? Ocan777_1. Whoever you are, wherever you were in 2008. I hope you're still with us, and if you are, mwah, molto bene. Ah,
Fox.
deserves more kudos than that one. That just saved us. That saved us, like, from assuming it was just a bug in the setting.
It must be like, it must apply for, another thing. Angle of view, camera controls, camera aim and up. Information. Output settings, no behavior, extra attributes. Just want to make sure that, like, I don't know. I mean, I can navigate without it, but it'll be a little bit clunky.
No, there's got to be a way to set it to rotate, to orbit around the center. My orbit camera around center. Around 0 origin. Object. Solved.
This guy? Where's that?
Center of selection mode.
It's like, when did I hit that guy? Right selection mode.
Yeah, it's orbiting locally. It's in skin.
I just need to remember in skin. Over selected vertices, you need to be in center of selection mode. So, this guy.
Is there a skin palette?
This is the skinning shelf. Would be also in here. But it looks like that button used to be, because this is a different version as well.
This is what I hate about Maya and Blender. And to some degree Modo. 3D software sucks like that. It's like they just moved that menu away.
Yep.
It's not even a thing anymore. And it hasn't been in like 3 years. Did we say 3ds Max?
Camera aim.
Camera aim.
Oh, this is not what I want. I want whatever this is going to be potentially.
Camera orbit object. Wait a minute. So you're in the skin.
Camera tools. Tumble, track, dolly.
Wait, tumble.
Tumble is like a roll, yeah.
Or the camera's pivot point, which by default is center. So maybe the camera has been recentered somehow. I don't know anything about Maya yet, so you're on your own with this one. But
All right.
where's the skinning shelf? I don't see the skinning shelf.
Is it hidden in one of these other shelves? No, like surface snapping.
Is there a way you can positively identify that the skinning shelf is actually extended? Like by looking at a picture of it?
Centered or all objects.
F.
F? That's what I've been pressing to zoom in on stuff.
And then can you
But I can't.
pivot around it?
Right.
Okay, so go down to like,
Not like I normally would, at least.
What else
I
does
can
it
dolly, I can track.
what else does it say?
I think it has to do with this scaling thing. Maybe.
Don't think that's the case. Otherwise, how would anyone ever make a large object in Maya? You can't tell me that's impossible.
I didn't say that.
So then it follows that there's a way to orbit around anything no matter how large.
I believe that.
We don't need thruster engines, we just have a mouse. So
Let's see.
I just have no clue how to actually do it.
Is it Alt X? Did I press that by accident? That's what that does. That's roll. That should.
That's-
I'm glad that button exists. Gosh. Alright.
Alright, I'm gonna start Googling now.
Do it. I need help, clearly. Let's see. I don't know about reset camera orbit. Yoshi.
Yoshi.
Let's see. Go hunt something to kill, eat.
There's
You tried using the predefined perspective bookmark.
polycount. Polycount's awesome. Let's go here. They got ninjas there. Try hide all objects and do frame all. Okay.
Hide all objects and frame all.
Reply is, yeah, I did that. Still rotates around itself. Just try it as a reset your VRAM thing.
Well, I might have said something about.
Try resetting the tool. Hang on. Wait, in the viewport menu, just above the viewport icons, view, look at, selection, problem solved, it says. And also resetting transforms on the camera, if that doesn't work.
There you go.
Boom. Thank you, forum dude. Gorilla on Polycount.
That's the way to go.
Polycounter level 10, April 2010. So some menus don't change,
Some menus don't change.
but it's a crapshoot. It's a toss-up. It's like a coin flip whether or not that menu will still be there. But something as fundamental as the viewport menu, view, look at, selection, seems like a fairly safe thing. So now we know.
We got a lot of menus.
Thank you, forum guy. I'm learning Maya just by not knowing it and having to Google it.
Rock on.
It's the same as Max. It's just all weird because it's different. But that's not a bad thing. I'm just gonna like embrace that weirdness and learn it. I was able to get a mesh out of ZBrush. That's like almost impossible for anyone who hasn't trained in ZBrush.
ZBrush has a lot going on.
It's weird as hell. It's like Kai's Power Tools, but for like clay.
What is Kai's Power Tools?
What?
I've never used Kai's Power Tools.
What?
What?
How were you alive in the computing era and never used Kai's Power? I'm trying not to be that guy right now, but we've had conversations about it where you talked about Kai Kraus.
What?
What?
What? Oh God, you're crazy! You're crazy making, Ben. It's like it's a game that runs in Photoshop essentially. That's just like make your own like spheroids, textures, and weird interference pattern animations and like just weird like Kai's Power Goo. Did you ever hear of that? Man, you were around before, after the PC Magazine era.
I mean, yeah, like I haven't been like a mega computer guy for all that long.
Oh man,
Maybe 10 years, 15 tops.
I'm loving all this retro tech I'm about to show you.
Word. All right. So do we want to develop this block more? Or do we want to move to the next potential location?
Yeah, well, we're just blocking out locations, but I wanted to get to Shape City. I mean, where did the city buildings go?
They haven't been put on yet.
What were the ones you had before that were awesome?
Oh, they're somewhere around here. I don't know.
Did you delete them?
I
Ben,
don't think so.
Ben did delete them. It's
I mean,
okay,
I can
good.
drop down 100 boxes. But
Yeah, let's
I'm
drop
gonna
down
do
100 boxes because that's the shape of the city, and then we're done with the city.
that. Word.
So that can be done.
Let's do it.
What are the red boxes?
I was just thinking about like different focal points, areas that we can think about,
Oh, I see. I
like
see.
this and that and this.
Well, we don't have to think about them. I have a paper with them on them.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Where did that go? Where'd my paper go?
And I can put all of these on a layer so we can hide and show focal points.
Is it right behind me? Yep, it is. Anyone in camera? See it first. Or maybe not. Hidden by the share. Hold up.
Wait a minute.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. We have a paper that shows all of the locations. And it is a mind map. I'm going to send this to Jimbo. He wants to see this. You can't see it up close. Wait, actually you can if I could just share my screen, but not right now. We're going to show you this. It has all of the locations for NuRen. Every single shot that has to be in the thing. That isn't an effect shot or a one-off location like a crumbling staircase or something like that. Any of the big set piece locations like Tulip City, and these are all the ones like over the there's see the main one node, and then the 6 or 7 or how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones that are right under that one. Those are the only things we're actually modeling. The other ones are camera shots within those. So areas of the bigger areas over here that need more detail and love put into them instead of just greebled walls and stuff. The little sub-focus areas. I'm gonna send this on in digital form. Whew. Anyway, that's all the sets we need to build for this whole show. We're gonna reuse a lot of them, flashbacks and all kinds of stuff. That's why I think having everything LOD'd in dynamically and just being able to shoot over there instead of spawning in stuff all the time. There's be a lot of flashback sequences.
Oh, and you can also use those visualization areas to make cool stuff happen.
Right, so
Just making a couple of squares to breathe out with.
yeah, make them get much taller towards the center and a gigantic tower in the middle.
Cool.
Remember my wallpaper on my Windows machine?
I do.
That's what it looks like.
That was pleasant.
Yeah, nice, Robbie.
I'm sorry.
You
That
alright?
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, dead man.
Oh, you dead, man. No. It's the egg?
Like with the hyper Empire State Building in the middle, you know?
Sure. Oh, I was thinking, like, here. Let me get ahead of this.
If that's a quadrant,
So,
you
like,
replicate that 4 times.
yeah. Well, I was going to put it here. Right?
Right. But it needs to be semi-symmetrical, so I'd say replicate that all the way around.
No problem.
Like if that's one of the petals.
No, sure. I mean, if you, yes.
Remember, they're not daisy petals. They're kind of all around like a rose.
Right. Just need to reorient this a bit better.
Like
For
if-
sketching purposes. Let's see here. There we go. That's the surface. Hey, friend. And then we can take that. We can look at it from what might be the top. There we go. Make sure our rotation is reasonable. Cool.
Yeah, those don't need to be aligned to the axis yet.
Oh, okay. Well, because I wanted to duplicate it around the edge.
Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Duplicate it around the edge.
Yeah.
But it's not important to me that it look perfectly radial or anything right
Okay.
now. We're gonna make an actual city layout, and not just bullshit it for the final.
Right. Of course not. I'm
Yes.
just making something that's
I know. I'm not.
representative.
I'm not criticizing your current activity. I'm telling you that instead of just winging it and making it look rebuild,
Right.
there's got to be stuff taking place inside it. So it's very important that it's laid out in a certain kind of way.
No problem.
Right. But for this, it's like making it's like making a billboard flame by having 6 billboard flames
Mm-hmm.
and just making them just whatever angle you look at it pretty much looks billboardy. As long as it's additively shaded, it doesn't really fall apart in VR either. So you can get away with a lot of cool shit, making spheres out of 3 axes of planes.
Cool. And then there's a central kind of tower, yeah?
Yep. Big old sports complex in the middle, like Empire State Building. You kind of the Citadel kind of deal. Not necessarily that crazy, but you know, you remember you look at it every time you look at my computer.
That's been a while.
It's every day, Ben. I have it up there literally every day when you walk in. You're looking at it on the right hand side. It's that thing that says NuRen, and it's like dark and it has like light blue buildings on it. You just don't realize you've been looking at it every day because you haven't been thinking about it that much, and you just kind of don't even notice it's there after a while. So, but it comes flooding back as soon as you think about it again.
I'm looking at your computer right now, and I'm not noticing it.
Oh,
Right. Because it's off.
well played.
Dingleberry.
Is that what that scratch is?
I'm not using. Oh, yeah, look at that obelisk.
And I don't know, I'm just making like an
Yeah,
obelisk
whatever.
shape.
Yeah, we can. The shape of the city and the layout. It's important that it's ordered and structured.
Right.
But how it looks in the demo is not how it should look in the final. Let alone it was just a tech demo.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, we're just making a shape that represents that there's a big element here and there's like a city element
Maybe
out
let's
here.
of an overt penis. If that's cool.
I didn't mean to make it a penis.
Look at it,
What?
dude.
What,
at that.
is it, I think just things look like penises.
Sometimes a building is just a skyscraper is just a skyscraper. I don't think so, because you know real estate developers.
What?
Get yourself a block penis there, do you?
What?
So maybe, yeah, it totally looks like a dick, Ben. Come on.
How do I make it not look like a dick? It's a fucking
Maybe
skyscraper.
make it not have a head like that.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
a,
the dome is
like
probably
a
what's
like a
selling it.
penis head, like the head of a penis.
There you go. That's it's a uncircum. Now
Ben,
you
when
just
is the
watch
last
it
time
more.
you've seen a skyscraper?
Skyscrapers are flat on top.
Yeah, but not all of them.
Okay.
Some of them have towers on top or penthouses or like balconies or things. But beyond that, they don't look like rockets.
Huh.
All of them.
That's this type of thing.
Right. That kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a smokestack with lots of little sub-smokestacks coming off of it.
Right. I'm just gonna have to approximate it
It
because
gets,
we can always.
they always get skinnier as they go higher, unless they're weird, like new building material kind of things. So we could have overarching ledges and stuff like that just hang into nothing,
Mhm.
supported by rocket thrusters. Whatever we want to do in the final.
It helps out. Just put that
But-
stuff on top.
Yeah, it just looks more greebled and crenellated. And that's about, maybe make it flatter and less pyramidal.
I'm sorry.
It kind of looks like a stamen now, so I'm kind of liking how it's a sort of wedge shape at the bottom,
Oh, this thing. Okay.
the whole base of it.
Should I make it flatter? you
I mean,
think?
look at it from perspective view.
This is perspective view.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, look at it into it. Look at the shape of the base of it.
Right.
It's a gigantic Eiffel Tower looking thing.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
Okay.
I'm kind of behind it. Because that's what a real flower stamen looks like. It is basically a flower penis, but it's like not, it's not shaped like the same kind of,
Right.
very deep in there.
Yeah, like we're gonna be looking for this.
Yeah.
Like
type
it
of-
should have multiple stamens on it, essentially. Pistils.
So we should have more of these parts.
The other sex organs in the flower. Anyway, it's not very important right now. You get
Oh.
the picture just by looking at it.
Okay,
right
cool.
here. So, good. Tulip City.
Sweet.
And there's going to be all kinds of little ports and, like launch pads on the side of the thing.
Yeah.
Where the petals are kind of ending right now.
Right.
Like there's stuff going out all the way to the edge, but it doesn't matter for here. This is a gray box.
Exactly.
That is the shape of the city. That's what the future looks like according to my weird semi-dystopian comedy AI musical view of things.
I like it.
That's what I believe on faith alone and weird kind of like strange superstitious hunches
Mhm.
based on current technology. That would be a fun way for an AI to like make a really funny metaphor about humanity and perspective. Because nobody in here can see what it looks like from outside. They just see a picture of it. They don't realize they're in a field of them. There's like billion little cities around the, I mean, 1,000 maybe of these
Oh, sure.
cities around the world, and they don't live on the ground anymore. They're all up here like Jetsons style. But none of them can see the forest for the trees because you can't see the next city over. You're completely isolated in the city. It's basically a prison.
Gotcha.
A beautiful, beautiful prison. That's also a flat Earth that you can fall off of.
Okay.
So it's got all the tropes.
It's got all the tropes, man.
But the AI in the story knows that and laughs at it instead of. It's basically the ultimate lampshade because the antagonist is just having fun, basically clowning around because he can't get to light speed. Apparently, it's impossible. He finds out, so he's trapped for millions of years, going crazy while humanity basically melts down around him.
Ooh, I pressed the button.
He's accidentally made them boring by curing everything that causes pain. To sum it up very, very basically.
I need to change the settings of that.
Dude, Robbie defeated you as the boss. Look, T-Mad, you've been unseated. How does your reign feel
That
coming
button
to an
does.
end?
Good.
Finally, somebody noticed. I put a lot of hard work into that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
All right, that's the first time I've been able to turn my neck upwards today, so I'm feeling kind of good.
That's good.
This.
I can. I don't usually look up at the courtesy monitor, and unless I'm really making a concerted effort to check, like what people are talking about, because it's like, there you go. Tree creaking dot wave. Ooh, that golden spiral looking fractal shit.
Yeah, man, we got all the fractals.
Maybe scale them up. Yeah, to make that extra greeble.
Yeah.
There you go.
Why is it rotated?
Good question.
There we go. It's in my head.
Sounds like
my heart.
sounds like an issue of axes.
Yeah, it's all right. These are things we can adjust. I just wanted to get like that.
You can have
sprawl.
some. I'd say keep the buildings floating on the side and have those as like dockside piers, more or less.
Sure thing.
So I
Yeah.
like having overhang, like a few buildings that are like obviously not on the tulip, but are right off outside it.
Like this guy.
A hanger on, that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Cool
fine.
with that being there and having like a road leading to it and some platforms.
All
scaffolding
right,
or
some kind of like pole or something holding
Yeah.
it up. Yeah.
and any of our camera shots can just focus on that one bit of detail we chose to put in, and that's like seconds of screen time. And we only have to do that a few thousand times, so we got NuRen. That combined with demo scene effects, matrix things where the gun racks are coming at you, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
A few thousand of those kind of shots, which sounds like it sounds like I'm joking and be like, oh, a few thousand, yeah, just a few thousand, no big deal. It's really not that big a deal once you get crazy cranking on it. You crank them out by the 100, like on a monthly basis. You get just hundreds of ideas done rapidly because they're so easy. You just draw a white void with a gun rack coming at you from the asset store. You just do that 1,000 times and it wraps past like using cheap pre-made assets into a work of art because you've done so much with it.
Yep.
Which is basically how every AAA game is made. They just get a bunch of assets either pre-made or bespoke custom made in a cheaper part of the world, to put it lightly.
True. They also have been building them up for a long time. Like a lot of big houses will have
Yeah,
like an asset library that is
You only need to model
10
the
years old.
same toaster
right.
like so many times until you achieve the next level of high poly, and then you have or material. You could rematerial the mesh. Like once you got a good strong mesh for a toaster, you kind of don't need a new one until you make a toaster sim where it has to be mechanically simulated or something. Where like the toast popping up is a key integral mechanic, and then you got to make a new toaster that's got the kind of. But if it's just a toaster prop, who cares? Use the same one in like 20 games. PlayStation 2 and upward.
See, it's in fixed mode. I'm sorry, Robbie. It needs to be in overkill mode. Overkill multiplier.
Nice, too.
Alright.
Excellent. Extreme boss health.
Sweet. Sorry, Robbie.
Robbie's dead.
Oh man. Oh man. No, you didn't. I'm
Okay,
coming back at you.
so all right, so we've spent a lot of time on the city
Yeah, yeah.
because we needed to.
Well, we were talking about it, so I thought I'd just kind of keep like, sketching stuff.
But instead, I'd like to move on now to the different parts of the world.
Let's do it.
All right, so how big around is that now? Can you measure it? as a measurement tool.
Whoa, that's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Let's see. Well, we can look at it orthographically. It's probably the fastest way. We're talking, what is that, about 2.5 maybe?
meters?
2.5 meters. Is it right?
Are you certain?
Oh, no.
Are you sure you actually resized everything to the appropriate scale?
Well, because now the grid size is way different, right?
Yeah, but what is the grid size?
Is it meters?
Can you find out?
Where's the measurement tool?
No. Can you just go back into the preferences and see what your units are set
Yes,
to?
I can.
Because that will tell us
Alright.
without having to find a measurement tool. You just go ahead and see what the actual grid is set to. Alright. Because I forgot.
Yeah, so these are linear meters.
Alright, so that's 2 meters wide.
Okay.
Not a very large city. Let's
What?
make it 200 meters.
You want to
Or-
make it 2,000 meters
Or
wide?
2,000 meters wide, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that's also a tiny city, just it's
Yeah.
like 2 football fields.
2 kilometers is pretty good.
Or maybe just 1.
Whatever the case, we're going to start with scaling, well,
Because
That means
most of the show takes place in the shadow of the city and the surrounding mountains.
right.
Like, literally all of it.
Ooh.
That isn't said in a one-off thing.
Let's figure that out. So let's see, if this is now, yeah, this is our regular unit scale. It starts to subdivide. Wow, looking never. Okay, that's fine.
So,
This is still meters. Now we're talking about.
if that's still meters, is
Oh,
it
this
not
is-
subdivided yet?
Oh, this is 100. Oh, I see. We
you're-
could just do it like this.
You're scaling the whole group also.
Yeah, no.
Alright, you gotta reset the transforms though. Once those start adding up, it becomes an import nightmare later on.
Well, that's why we can scale that import stuff. Yeah, because now we're dealing with huge crap. Sweet. Where's my outliner?
Yeah, if the whole thing is 1 kilometer wide, that's about the right size.
Right.
Like 1 square kilometer, maybe. The diameter. That's like the overall area. That's a pretty decent city core. Maybe 5. I'm thinking in miles terms still. Like a kilometer is way less than a mile. And a square mile is still a pretty small plot of land. So maybe we should just go ahead and say 10 to be safe. In diameter, not radius.
That was
So
Popsky.
5 in
Here's a
radius.
new one by my buddy CG5. A little edit I made because I'm hyped for Mario Galaxy. Not Galaxy, Odyssey, the new one. Anyway, here's CG5 remix Cutman edit.
Wait, 1 is about 1,600 meters is about the length of a superstar destroyer. And that thing's the size of a city.
Okay.
We're talking about Star Destroyer scope here. So I'd say maybe 2 is the right amount after all.
There we go.
Wow, that's jankified.
Yep. It's starting to do a lot of weird stuff at that scale. Because the renderer is trying to, like, alias all of this stuff.
Is it just trying to create AO or something?
No, it's like looking at the polygons and trying to generate edges that we actually see. Right?
I'm unwilling to believe that that's a thing that happens when you model in Maya at full scale. It's got to be some setting we have wrong somewhere.
Probably. Let's figure it out.
That can't just be how it is in Maya when you make a big object.
Well, that's why I was mentioning.
Because then nobody will have ever done any CG that wasn't in miniature. I don't buy that for a second. If that turns out to be the case, I will eat my hat, but that seems like a very implausible computer limitation that we're running into here. For a production tool that's used to model gigantic cities constantly, presumably at scale.
I mean, that's true.
If I'm presuming something wrong about the entire animation industry, Like, I don't think everyone knows that the way to do it is to model in centimeters.
Well, just to do it to the effect, right? Like you want the visual effect to
Right.
appear at scale.
Right. What if you're modeling a canyon or working with like water physics? It's got to be at scale. So there's no way that this can be too big for Maya to render without.
I'm not concerned about it. I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah.
Gotta figure it
You
out.
just got to figure out why it's doing that. I'm not suggesting that you think it's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm saying like, no way, dude.
Let's see.
I'll be posting this song on Game Chops real soon if you like
I
it.
really like that episode of this thing, but I really, hey chat, hook it up with new music, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm in requirement of new music.
We need jams.
I'm
I
curious.
really did enjoy that. Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So I want to know about.
Wait, is it Odyssey or Galaxy?
That was Odyssey.
No, it's Odyssey, definitely. Yeah, I always like. They're all so catchy that I immediately think, wait, is that the one that I've been humming recently?
I really
And
like Galaxy. The
turns
one
out-
when they're at the main hub, the staging area,
Yeah,
like the floating island, whatever it is, or whatever planet.
I'm trying to think of it. Yeah,
It's
The-
like it's very Disney-like.
the ship planet.
Yeah.
Planet ship.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah, I seem to remember that, and it has orchestral elements that fade in and out depending on where you're at
Yeah.
or who you're talking to.
Yeah.
That's it's brilliant. I just can't hum it right now. Oh no, I've gotten it stuck in my head before, but not recently enough.
Okay. I should cut it for now. I should do the same things here. So it turns
Oh.
out that I had to change the near clip plane just because the scale is getting out of control. Like from what I remember, the Maya renderer is trying to alias things for you, like these edges. Yeah.
Right.
It's basically
Based
what
on
you
the
would do with the software renderer.
Percentage of scale
Yeah. And
of
so
its clipping plane.
it has the vertex information,
Mhm.
but in order to draw an edge, you have to, or in order to draw a curve, you have to alias, right? You have to say, okay, well, these edges kind of, because each of these are flat, like if we go small enough.
Right. You have to derive a point on the
Right.
curve, and then if that's way the hell far away, it goes into a gigantic precision that
Yeah.
it doesn't have. Again,
It kind of becomes a weird, like, subpixel problem, right?
get it completely. Well, thank you for investigating that because
No
that's
problem.
that's janky and cool to know in case that happens to me. I would have been on Google immediately and probably taken an hour to figure it out.
Yes. Let's see.
I think we can bluster, and research our way out of probably any problem.
Short.
Google.
You got a body, we'll hide it.
Let's go front.
Better call Hull.
So yeah, this is the same thing, right? Rear clip plane, far clip plane, 10,000.
So all cameras need to have the set independently, it seems.
Yeah, because we're not starting that with that default setting. Although
Right.
this seems a little bit strange to me. Why the flat side isn't just doing that, right? Like
Well,
same thing with this
top
guy,
10,
right?
yeah, they all need to have.
It's like, do I want 100 units?
No, man, it cuts it off.
10?
It should be but it should be you just have to worry about the far. Don't change the near. That's set per camera default, right? Have you been changing the near clip plane?
Yeah, that was how I got rid of that, like, artifacting.
Oh yeah, because if it's like nothing to, it's like
There we
infinite
go.
resolving power.
So what is that number, like 100,000? 100,000 meters, basically, will be our rendering range.
But we can't get up close to anything.
You're surprised because we're still working with meters themselves as a unit, so we can get within 10 meters of something.
And also, if we're doing, who cares if we're working up close? Because we're just gonna be focused on a single object. It can be 1 meter, like on a different camera.
Oh, totally, yeah.
To work up close.
I mean, we can also just make we can drop cameras in locations that have specific rendering settings, where it's just like,
Exactly.
this is a shot we might want to use later.
Let's do that actually for real and make our animatics that way.
Okay, cool.
Instead of me fudging around in FrameForge Pro, which is incredible and amazing,
There
but
we go.
also is not a 3D program like this. It's,
3D baby.
It's like poser level 3D. So it's awesome, and it's for professionals to set up camera shots, but mostly on like other stuff that isn't the VR demo.
Where is front?
Like it has all of the cars and police officers and road signs you're gonna need, but it's meant for doing. Like you can import your own geometry arbitrarily, but you could just do it in here and set up the right cameras
Mhm.
and then render those, and then you have a storyboard.
Or you can render out if we use this as like a blueprint kind of like mesh, right? Because we don't have that mesh. Like the whole thing right now is less than 100,000 tries. It's gonna be hard for us to get to 100,000 tries in this scene. You
Right.
can use that as like a scaffolding inside of Unreal itself,
Right.
and then export out bones or export out objects,
Mhm.
like use
And-
those as sockets, and then stick cameras to them.
And HDRI camera renders so that we can have all the distant stuff that's already there in our model. Let's just make a super detailed model of the entire world and part it out in chunks and render the rest of it when we're not there.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Because you can't tell distance past a few hundred, remember?
Yeah, I think it's like fewer than 500 feet.
So we can render a
350.
skybox from anywhere we're standing. Anywhere, any camera shot can have its own custom skybox that shows the rest of the high detail scene. Just nothing you can't physically tell is 3D is actually 3D. So it's really not rendering anything outside of your chunk.
It's time for power jams.
Power jams. Power jams. All right, so we're still working on the city. Let's
I'm just like
well,
putting.
we're
I don't
gonna
like the red is neat, but
scale
I'm
it.
just trying to do that.
So what
Yay.
sizes are we dealing with now?
That's right.
How big is the thing? Can you
Where's
use
my
the
grid? Where's
measure-
my grid?
Can you just use the measurement tool at this point?
Where is that thing anyway?
Now is the time to find it.
Create measure tools? Sure.
Oh yeah, it was in the distance tool. I
Yeah.
had to Google this one the other day. I was trying to learn this shit.
There are no settings for the tool. Thanks, man.
Ugh,
All right, well, let's
it
do
was
this.
in a different thing. It was like, oh no, I'm thinking of Blender. Man, I'm tripping
Okay,
hard.
there we go. What the? That's not correct.
I opened Maya and I just looked at it and just quit it.
Can I use this to target normal information? I think we should do this from an orthographic viewpoint. That's what I think.
Yes, just measure how wide the city is from one side to the other.
So using the current tool, we're talking about
Can you measure it? Can you
261.
measure it along the middle of it so we know what the actual diameter is? I mean, can you go through the center with your line?
Go through the center.
Yeah.
Well, it's showing those 2 points, right? The distance between those 2
the-
points,
you're not just going on the side.
right? And I can adjust the actual like XYZ of those points, but it's going to hit the grid first. So if we were looking at this from that view, right?
What? That doesn't seem right.
I mean, here, let's be.
Can I see it from the other view? Because it seems like you may not be putting it on the right points somehow.
Say here, and we'll pick an edge point, yeah?
Yeah.
Along the same axis. And so what's going on here is it shows the location of each of those points.
But can we see those points in 3D space?
Yes.
Can we verify they're actually on the city?
I'll have to raise them both.
Can you?
Yes.
So we can put it on the surface of the city and verify they're touching the points that we're supposed to be measuring.
Let's see if I can.
Because that shows me nothing. My eyes can't make sense of that because it keeps shifting its downward vector.
Is this city centered on an axis that we can use? That's what I want to know.
If you just drag it up in absolute Y.
Yeah, about that.
Maybe do it from the right view instead of the top down. Because you're selecting the geometry below it, I think.
Just pointing at points.
Yeah, but you're pointing at points that are not, I think.
These points are on the city, yeah. That's from the center to the edge.
All right, so it's 122 meters.
Yes.
Right, so we're gonna make it 2 kilometers.
So we have to go even further.
Yeah. Let's just call it an even 2,500 because the buildings are gonna be built on the 25 centimeter block standard. So 25 kilometers is 25.
Okay. Let's make our perspective camera
1,000 of
even
those
larger.
blocks. No. Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. 2.5 kilometers would be 25,000 blocks of 25 centimeters each.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Am I doing my math correctly or am I an order of magnitude off?
I don't know. I'm trying to get ahead of the.
Right, as am I, which is why my math is kind of questionable right now.
What are we dealing with?
It would be
here?
25, I believe, 25,000.
All right.
2.5 thousand meters.
We basically want this to be 100 times bigger. Right? 2.5 thousand meters.
Wait, no, it would be 4.
That's 2.5
It would
kilometers.
be 10,000 blocks because 25 centimeters. No. It's just multiplying by 10 twice.
So multiply by 100.
No, if that's set in meters, I'm trying to figure out if 2.5 kilometers, 2,500 meters, is the appropriate size for the city. and I think it is based on the size of the building block and visualizing it in my head how many would fit on the grid. Because the whole thing is built up with blocks, like Minecraft. That's the whole conceit of the thing. So we have making it big enough for the scale of the surrounding mountains and all that stuff is incredibly important at even the white boxing stage because it changes the whole mood of the entire thing, depending on how big the city is. So let's make it 2.5 kilometers in diameter.
What is this? 2.5 thousand units, essentially, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go back to our measurement tool. I know that roughly if I'm starting at 2.5, there are 253
Right, that's
meters.
250 meters.
So we need to make it 1,000 times larger, or 100 times larger.
Yes. No. 10 times.
10 times.
Yep.
Okay.
It would be 2,500 meters. If that's 253 meters,
Right.
times it by 10.
Just add a zero, basically.
Yes.
Gotcha. Times 10. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to times it by 10.
Times it by 10.
So I'm going to group it.
What are you timesing it by?
Times it by 10.
Okay.
Times in. All right. So cool thing. We're going to modify this whole thing, baby. And scale this like that. Scale the group by 10.
You're going to have to change clipping probably again at some point.
I'm expecting that. Yeah. I was kind of.
Maybe not though.
Well, I actually did that prematurely with a perspective camera. I'm pretty sure it's going to cause issues with it graphically.
Okay.
But
so it's
actually now we can see with
25.
the points that we've selected.
Yes, we can.
How about that? Baby.
Yes.
So that's perfect.
Very
2.5 kilometers for the city. All right, good. So
Yeah.
everything else takes place in the shadow of that, and then the surrounding mountains and ridges. Over a ridge is where the wastelanders live. They come over the mountain and assault the city.
Oh, so now we're talking about shadow. Let's get one in there. Why not? We can visualize.
Yep.
Visualize.
The dark. Well, it's just the same radius as the city, but it's just dark.
All right, so let's get myself. Is it rendering? Where are you?
It also.
Sculpting, rigging, rendering. I want to create a light. Just do it. Just do it.
Boom.
The
I'm
other.
the champion again.
What's up?
Robbie's like battling T-Mad right now.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, you are the champion. Take that, T-Mad.
You're gonna hurt this man.
The king has been unseated. All right, so go into right view and measure how tall that darn thing is. It's way too tall now, I think. That's going to
Okay.
be in the stratosphere or something. It's probably like 10K kilometers or
All right,
so.
let's figure out what's going on.
I
with
mean,
our
10K meters,
front
10 kilometers.
Here we go. I want the outliner. I just want the outliner at all times, just to be hanging out with
Can
us.
you dock it?
I don't remember.
All right, well,
Now
can you
it's-
just measure the stem?
yeah, I'm
how
trying
tall it
to-
is?
I'm trying to reset our camera view. Display.
Because there's no atmospheric oxygen on the city. It's just got heaters.
Okay, why is that
It's
not?
got a,
rendering at
or
this
it's heated
side?
from the city itself, so it's like it's basically an urban heat island. I guess that's what they call it. Heat. What do they call them? T-Mad, you know about this? Is it heat island where it creates its own sort of thermal profile that's elevated compared to the surrounding wilderness? I think it's a heat island. So it is a heat island. Literally, it's heated, but it doesn't have. It takes longer to cook stuff, for example, because it's high up. But it shouldn't be oxygen deprived.
Ooh.
We don't have a bubble around it. Just the open air,
Alright.
Jamaica,
Jam-
and the bobsleds.
Hey, but Jamaica, I got the bobsled team.
Oh gosh.
That was beautiful, Rob.
Zero. Enter. Zero. Enter. Zero. Enter. Zero. Enter. I'm not seeing nothing.
What?
Just not seeing.
I don't even know what you're trying to do right
There
now.
we go.
Okay.
I'm trying to pick a range that, because orthographic cameras don't have the same properties. They have their orthographic projection, right?
Right.
So the units will respond a little bit differently.
Indeed.
All right, so let's go from the base to the tip of this guy.
That's 10K kilometers. I was right. Okay.
Is that okay?
It's probably too high. That's
Well-
about 8,000 feet. What is a kilometer? Like 0.8 of a a mile, 0.6 of a mile, 0.6. I used to know this. 6.2.
It's like 1.6 miles is a kilometer,
Is it? I thought so.
or 1.6 kilometers is
This
a
is
mile.
kilometers of a mile.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, calculator. So 6 miles up, 6.2.
So that's way too high. Probably.
Okay.
That's higher than. Is that higher than 6.2? How tall are mountains on average? About 5 to maybe. What is Everest like? 10, 20,000, 30,000 feet up. Yeah. Because I know how tall the peaks are near me. They're about 5K. So that's 5 miles up.
Yeah, Everest is 5.5 up.
So that would be
Be a cool mile taller than Mount Everest. It would be a city of ice.
8-ish kilometers ish.
Okay.
So this would be way higher than Everest, in other words, and you'd need a Sherpa to get to your mailbox because there's no oxygen.
Right.
So let's take it down to about a third of that.
Okay. Sure. Oh,
Maybe just slightly taller than it is wide, because there's supposed to be a real big shadow right under it, and this will look like a sundial. It'll just put a dot somewhere, like a being in the shadow of a windmill. It's like makes your living room kind of if you're like a mile downwind
Right.
at a certain time of day. So we should
So-
probably make just the stem. Like move
Right.
all the vertices north of. all
Well, I
the
was
vertices.
thinking about combining all of these things so that I can move all the vertices.
Yeah, that's prudent.
Cool.
Are you
Right.
trolloloing us? Yeah, you are.
I think that's pretty funny.
Perfect.
So roughly, let's say to here.
Yep.
Cool. Let me fix this guy as well.
I love the yo part.
It's like a weird combination of what the hell's going on.
It's like Russian theater and klezmer in a way.
This isn't still playing music, is it?
Wait, no, leave it going. I want to trollolo.
It's
Who's-
still rolling.
Is that Gato Bus trolloloing us with the dance mix? I can't hear it.
No, there's two audio sources.
Where's the trollolo coming from?
I have no idea.
Is it Robbie? It's Robbie.
I think it
It's
is.
not me.
It's Robbie. He's
It's not.
BSing
My audio's not
us.
being sent through there, dude.
Is it someone on Discord? Are we on Discord right now?
No, we're not
No, we're
actually.
not.
Discord's closed.
So where's it coming
Well,
from?
there's this Discord
It's coming
notification.
from Ben.
I know. Where is he lying about not
Hold on.
sending it to us from? Totally You've been trolloloing us for like.
What you got? Is it you? Oh, that's hilarious.
What was it?
It was Discord.
Who knew?
You did.
You knew.
No,
I asked you if it was Discord. You're like, no.
that's what I thought. So let's figure out how tall this is.
Wait, why did you turn it off though? I wanted you to turn it up.
Oh,
Bad Ben.
my God! I know everything.
I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from so we can amp it.
I would have to mute this.
Because
guy.
I like that has a cool like PlayStation menu vibe to it, but I kind of want to listen to Trollolo.
Well, let's reconnect the voice and.
Not to diminish this brilliant person's synthesizer
Oh, music
work.
bot was sent in here. Ah, that's what happened.
Oh, so put Trollolo on and then play it again, please.
Oh, somebody will.
And temporarily mute amazing synth dude. Thank you. I feel whole again.
Oh.
In the butthole sense. So that's 2/3.
To the third.
Take it down to a third of its current height.
Gotcha.
Meaning,
Sorry, I'm a little distracted with all these troll-a-laws.
how could you be distracted with Trollolo? It helps me focus.
You are a far greater man than I.
How is that possible?
How's that even a question?
What?
How could anyone be a greater man than you, Ben?
They try really hard. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm not saying you didn't come by it honestly.
Oh man. I think it's an impossibility. Could be no finer. I'd say also make the stem maybe a little bit thicker with 3 C's, you know?
Okay.
Because that is an arc shaped, but we still want it to be like a really wide elevator shaft. Like maybe almost as wide as the interior part.
Mm-hmm.
You see how it's like quite a bit narrower now than the nearest part. Yeah, there you go. Boom! You fixed it. Soft actin, tenactin. That's exactly the right.
Boom! How fast at the dark.
So this is still like
It's
toe
like
to
working.
toe to tip. We're talking about 4K tall.
Even at a third, that's about half of 10. It's 46. It's about half of 1004.
I'm just working it down. I'm trying to eyeball it. It's kind of the
So I
reason why
think
I'm not deleting these things.
So if he's a greater man than Ben, I believe it.
Let's see how tall that is. This is hilarious.
yeah, it is.
All right, 3.5. It's closer.
That's about good.
Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's a little bit taller than it is wide.
Okay, cool.
35 to 2,500 feet. Although now it's sort of sunken into the ground. I'm okay with that.
Oh no, that's just the stem part. You're not-
Oh, that's
yeah.
the okay.
I'm not talking. We're not talking about the base or any of that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Like, so I'm thinking from the top of the base or whatever this is, right? This platform.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, you might have to thin the stem back up again to get the illusion back.
I mean, if we like the base was just a placeholder thing. You know, we had talked about the no man's land without really casting the shadow, right?
What's
And-
the average altitude of cumulus clouds, Robbie?
I'm gonna let's see. Hi Google.
There we go. I was seeing if you were up to the challenge, and it turns out you totally were. Thank
I was
you,
about
Robbie.
to actually take my headphones off and go pick up my kids, but let's figure this one out first.
Robbie's a man with his priorities straight.
Alright.
We love you so much, Robbie. No, for real,
Wow,
go
that thing is
go
so
get him.
small.
Stop sticking around with us and go
There
get
we
him.
go. Cool. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's why it needs to be close to the ground, because it needs to cast the shadow really close.
I mean, where do you want to put it?
Well, where does the sun...
1.1 million pounds.
Wait, what?
What is the weight? What was the question?
The average height of.
Oh, the average
clouds.
height. Oh, why is it cumulus clouds?
Cumulus clouds.
Cumulus.
Cumulonimbus.
Cumulonimbus clouds. We basically need to make like non-storm storm clouds, but not cumulonimbus thunderheads. What's the height of your average? The average first cloud layer that you see when you're staring on the ground at clouds. What's the lowest clouds form? I'm confident that I knew this at one point during my science bowl days, but I stopped caring.
Low-level clouds generally less than 2,000 meters, 6,600 feet in altitude, unless they
Perfect.
are more vertical.
2,000 meters, which is 2 kilometers, and this is 3.5 in the sky. That's exactly where the cloud cover needs to sit to cover the cup of the tulip. It's basically like a bowl floating in the clouds with no stem.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
On that note, through the 2-minute mark until the stream is over. I'm going to wait till then.
A word.
Well, look at that beautiful tulip city we just created.
It's very nice.
And look at the shadow. You can see how things take place in the shadow, and they got to move under cover of shadow, basically, in order to get through. It doesn't matter because the AI has infrared, so who cares? But they're trying their hardest, right? It's the plot point of this.
I like how it stretches across like the terrain.
Right.
Like
and
at the top, at the beginning of the day, you're gonna have this kind of weird, like, if there's a mountain there, I'm just saying. Also, that mountain is absurdly tall, but
imagine when the smoke clears and you see that it's a field of view, and they all have shadows like that as the sun sets, right? Or rises.
pretty cool.
That's gonna be a cool ending. Sorry, spoiler alert. You zoom out and it's a field of flowers in bloom. They go from blue to red.
you zoom out
man.
and there's an ending.
There's an ending. It's
Shadows.
like-
I'm gonna turn off shadows.
We did spend a short amount of time together, Sophie. All right, that's
Sophie
the
was
1
here.
minute mark. Let's start saying our
Executive
goodbyes.
producer, so-
Oh, okay.
Yo, so that was one of our 6 areas that we have to start modeling as spaces, and we did the factory on the last stream, so I'd say we made some pretty freaking excellent flower headway here.
You know, I'm having fun.
Yeah,
It's good to get sharp, like, you know, kind of with like PowerBlock last year. PowerBlock this year has been a good, like, let's get really sharp with Unreal, like getting into these menus in Maya, just like rebuilding that skill set, right?
yep, you're getting better at it. I'm learning it, and I feel like I don't need to use 3ds Max at $185 a month. I can use
Baby.
my LT for like $49.99 or whatever,
Yeah.
and use what you use, what the pros use. I mean, the pros use Max too, but like
Yeah.
a lot of pros use Maya around me in my sphere.
Maya's it's kid tested.
and it's like Unreal approved.
Mhm.
So I mean, so is Max at this point. They're both great, but one is affordable, and it's the one that used to require a Silicon graphics machine. So
Good old Silicon Graphics.
back when it was Power Animator, and I used it as my personal, let's put light reading material.
Well, you know what they say, kids? It's
The-
high noon.
I read like 3D graphics magazines the way that most kids read the Sears catalog. If you catch my drift. And on that note, you know, oh wait, you're too young. There was no.
There was a
There's-
Sears catalog.
Was there when you were growing up?
Yes.
You got to tell me. You know what I'm
I
talking
know what a
about.
Sears catalog is about. I grew up more in the
you know
fries
what it's-
domain.
You
but
know what it's for. Yeah, I did the same thing with
Okay.
fries catalogs. I was like, oh, I need that server.
I think we have to say goodbye. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Thank you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow
Yeah.
here on PowerBlock.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.